Meow.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of AphantasiaMeow. Hey, thanks for hanging out and watching some of my stuff. It's been really fun so far, and I'm excited to get some new info to you. Okay, so the whole objective of this video is to go over the test that I released. When did I release that test? A couple months ago or something like that. And I want to go over some of the results and some of the kind of preliminary conclusions that I can make at this point based on the test. So I've been running that test, and I was hoping to have 100 entries, but ended up having about 336. Actually, there was exactly 336 entries that came through on that test, which was awesome. Way more than I was expecting. So thank you so much in participating with that test and actually taking the time to take it. I hope you guys found it interesting and fun and a little neat to take. Unfortunately, Google Forms corrupted the last 140 entries or so, which was a huge bummer. But I think right before I hit the 200 people mark, the 200 entry mark, I exported the data, and so I still got about 196 entries that weren't corrupted. But after that, it threw the whole thing off and wasn't recording the information right, which was really a bummer. I was pretty bummed out about it. But based on those 196 or so entries that I was able to export, we can kind of draw some ideas around what was even going on during the test for people. So the test itself was based around visual and audio multitasking. So I was trying to see if aphantasics and visual imaginers alike could listen to something and have comprehension, as well as see something and have comprehension at the same time. And so I was hoping, like I said, it would give an objective view into whether a person has aphantasia or not. It didn't really do that. It became pretty apparent really fast, actually, that the test wasn't fulfilling that purpose. But it was still really interesting and still gave us some insights into what is going on in people's minds. And one of the reasons, let me go over the reasons actually why it didn't give us an objective view in the first place. Was one, because the very first question, which actually isn't scored on the test, but it's an objective question of, what do you have? Do you have a vivid mind's eye? Do you have a semi-vivid mind's eye? Are you aphantasic, or did you used to have a mind's eye and now you're aphantasic? Out of the people that took the test, they all answered that question. And that's the part actually that Google Forms messed up. But right from the get-go, we already have a subjective question introduced where people are answering based on a subjective viewpoint of life. And it just throws the data way off, because there's no way to objectively measure those entries right from the get-go. So asking right from the beginning kind of defeated the purpose actually after we started. And also, there's major outliers in each camp. So let's say an aphantasic took the test. Some of those guys were getting like 10 out of 10 questions right. Okay. And they might have been cheating, might have been pausing the video. I hope they weren't. But some of them were getting really high scores. Some of them were getting really low scores. Some of them were getting right in the middle. Same with the visual imaginers. So some of them were getting really high scores. Some of them were getting really low scores. Some were right in the middle. So, and that's to be expected from any sort of test. However, that kind of makes it harder for us to be able to say, okay, objectively, these guys are aphantasics, these guys are visual imaginers. What it might do, though, is give us a glimpse into what makes aphantasics different and how their mind works and how an imaginer's mind works differently. So kind of my preliminary conclusions at this point with what we have so far based on that test is, on average, it does seem a little more challenging for aphantasics to do both visual comprehension and audible comprehension at the same time. The numbers kind of showed that there was a higher average with the visual imaginers getting more questions right because they're multitasking than the aphantasics. However, the data is still not really conclusive because everything is so subjective still at this point. And the outliers in both camps were throwing the averages as well. Also, we had way more aphantasics take the test than visual imaginers. I think I only had about 30 visual imaginer responses. And so that can throw the data off too. I need a bigger pool of people to be able to tell objectively what the differences are there. Also, so yeah, that is kind of cool. It does give us some insight into how the mind might be working in each of these types of people. Now, that being said, I have version 2 live on my website, test version 2. So I went through and revised the test. I made it a little bit different to try to hit certain aspects of what I was trying to test. Now, again, I don't expect this to be an objective viewpoint as to whether or not somebody has aphantasia or not, but I am hoping that it will give us some insight into how the mind works differently in either camp. You know, whether you can imagine, whether you can't, whether you used to be able to imagine and now you cannot. So that being said, please head to my website, AphantasiaMeow.com. Scroll halfway down the page. There's a pencil. If you click on that, it'll take you right to the embedded test on my website. You can take it there. Also, I'd love for you guys to share this test with your vivid imaginer friends, because like I said, the more people that we can get in that pool, the more I'll be able to tell whether or not that data is correct based on, if somebody can imagine or not. Okay. What else? After this test, I will be releasing the hard numbers of what the entries say, because actually I limited this one to one response as well. So you'll only be able to take the test once. So we won't get skewed data like that in people learning the answers and taking it again and getting a better score. So after this one, after we get about 100 or 150 results or so, I'll aim for more since we're including more vivid imaginers. But after this one, I'm going to release the numbers. We'll go over the data in the next video, and we'll have some fun, continue having some fun. Hey, it's the holidays as well. Things are getting busy in my life. I'm sure you guys are slammed, and I hope wherever you are in the world watching this video that you have a fantastic holiday season, and we'll see you next time. Bye.